What is up, everyone? I'm Ryan from Fireside Knicks with my friend and co-host Dylan Backer. And again, we talked about the Knicks already being up 3-1, so not that the excitement has faded, but, kind of the raw emotions from, hey, you're up 3-1. Not that they're not there, but today's focus is going to be on Game 5. You're up 3-1. That's great. Job's not finished, right? The job is not finished. The series is not over until one team collects 4 wins. So the Knicks have an opportunity tonight to close it out on the road at Cleveland. It's a huge game, right? The Cavs, for as bad as they've looked offensively, that is a team that's hungry. They're going to play desperate. They're going to fight tooth and nail. Their backs are against the wall. This is for their season. And the Knicks are going to have to match that intensity. Obviously that there are a lot of question marks surrounding how Julius Randle has been playing, whether the Knicks should use him in the closing lineup, all of that stuff. And we're going to, RJ Barrett's recent surge can quickly get himself going, all these things. We're going to talk about everything going on with this Game 5. But before we do that, Dylan, how are you doing today, my friend? And how are you feeling? Game 5, game day, job to do something, that's an opportunity to do something we haven't done in a decade.
Right. I mean, Game 5 and job's not finished. Like you said, up 3-1, you're riding high. You're loving it right now. You can't get too ahead of yourself, though. You got to finish it out. Got to close the series. You still got at least one more game to play, and it's tonight against Cleveland, and you're at their home court, hostile environment. We did take a game on the road early in this series, so that's huge right there. That's big reason why we're able to be up 3-1 right now. But, it's not just a cakewalk, right? It's not going to be an easy game whatsoever. Like I said, you're on the road. Never easy in the playoffs. And a lot of guys need to step up. This has been nowhere by any means a perfect series for the Knicks. Even though they're up 3-1, it has not been perfect. Jalen Brunson's done his thing. We all know what he's been doing. He's been great. RJ Barrett stepped up in games 3 and 4. So I'm not going to really talk about those guys because, we talked about him a lot in our last episode. I want to talk a lot about Emmanuel Quickly. I know we want to talk about Randall too, but Quickly has been someone who's just really struggled these playoffs. I mean, it's unfortunate. He was 6th Man of the Year finalist. He was great throughout the final stretch of the year. Looked like he was going to come to the playoffs riding hot. It's been slow for him. He's only averaging 6.5 points, 1.8 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.3 turnovers a game, and he's only shooting 34.8% from the field and 27.3% from 3 in these playoffs so far. Those are not pretty numbers, and that's also in 22 minutes of action. Those aren't pretty numbers. Like I said, it's been unfortunate. It's been a rough go for him so far. I really want to see him get going. I know he had like an 11-point performance on 4-6 shooting in one of the games, but it didn't really change a whole lot of the outcome. I want to see Quickly have like an impactful performance that will affect the outcome. Do I expect Quickly to come in and play 30, 40 minutes or whatever and drop 30 points? No, I don't expect that. Jalen Brunson's going to get the bulk of the minutes, and quite frankly, Josh Hart's going to get the bulk of the minutes at the 2 guard. So I don't expect Quickly to be doing everything, but I'm hoping Quickly can give us a solid 15 points, even 20 points if he gets red hot, and efficient. I want efficiency. That's what we really need because he's been really inefficient. Now, I'm not going to totally say Quickly has been awful these playoffs because, while his shooting has been bad, he's still playing great defense. The defense has been there. It's not like his defense regressed, which is huge because, it's always, essential to be impactful on that side of the floor when your shot is not falling. We always will take that. So at least he's been doing that. But I just want to see that shot fall, man. The offense is, we're up 3-1, so you would think the offense has been fantastic. It, quite frankly, has not been fantastic. It's been pretty below average overall this series. Game 4, we did shoot the ball pretty well, aside from Julius Randle, of course. But other than that, it has not been the most efficient series I've ever seen. It's not been the most efficient set of games I've seen from this New York Knicks team. I've seen much better performances in that aspect. So I guess my question to you, Ryan, is what do you expect Quickly to do tonight? And not just expect him to do tonight, but what do you want to see him do tonight on both sides of the floor?
It's just shoot from 3. I look, Quickly's a smaller guard, right? And we know that smaller guards tend to be a lot less efficient in the paint and stuff like that. That's just natural, right? You can't expect Emmanuel Quickly to pull up the same efficiency from the paint that Mitchell Robinson can. But if he can shoot from 3, if he can give me, 3 or 4 big threes, man, that could decide a game, right? These are games that, there's just not a lot of offense going on in this Knicks-Cavs series. The Knicks have been the beneficiaries of playing unbelievable defense. Emmanuel Quickly's been an unbelievable defender in this series. He's been incredible, right? But if he could just hit a couple of shots, can he, because we're saying get going, but we're not saying get going as in like he's been atrocious. We mean like shooting wise, like, hey, be a little more efficient for the field. Can we get a little more out of you scoring wise? Because defense, he's excellent. His motor, it's always running at 100 million miles an hour. This dude plays his you know what off, right? He's got great basketball IQ. We just need him to hit a couple shots. That's all, right? If he goes out there and he shoots, 40 to 45% from the field with a couple of big threes, gives you, I think game 3, if he gives you the game 3 offensive performance he gave you with his defense, you take that. I think the Knicks could go out and win the game with just that. Because I trust Brunson to get me those points. I trust that, not that RJ is going to be the RJ we saw last game, but can RJ Barrett just continue to be effective driving towards the basket? I think he can, right? I do think he can. Again, offense is something that just hasn't happened for either team this series, and I think the Knicks right now just have guys that that aren't shooting well, that are bound to shoot better. The next guy that I think is kind of the big guy to step up here is Randall, obviously, right? Like Quickly and Randall are two guys who are shooting under 50% in terms of true shooting percentage, and have done that for the first 4 games of this series, and these are good scorers. These are not bad offensive players. I know people are like, Randall's a playoff choker, Randall's this. He's coming off of injury. And even if you think he's a playoff choker, even if you think he's going to perform worse in the postseason, he's still due, like, statistically speaking, he's due for a pretty good game. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but for Emmanuel Quickly to kind of summarize this point, Emmanuel Quickly, just give me what you gave me in game 3. Your defense is so good and so valuable that I am going to take solid offensively, and that'll make you a great player. And as for Julius Randle, the expectations have to come up. So the expectations, I think, are for him to perform well, and I think he can perform well. I'm not sold on him being a playoff choker just yet. What do you think?
Right. I mean, like we said, it's been a rough go for Julius Randle too, unfortunately. I'm looking at his stats right here. In roughly 32 minutes of action, he's averaging just 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and he's only shooting 32% from the field and 25 from 3. Yeah, those aren't pretty numbers. We all know that. At this point, you can just simply watch the film and realize he's having a bad series, right? But like you said, he's playing off an ankle injury. He didn't really get a big ramp-up period prior to the playoffs. He kind of just got thrown into the fire and kind of just was asked, hey, come back into the starting lineup and play. Play 40 minutes. We need you in the playoffs. I know you didn't really have any contact during practice. I know you didn't play the last 5 games of the regular season, but we need you right now, so come back in. And obviously, you kind of have to do that in the playoffs. So, it's a defendable decision. But at the same time, we obviously want him to get going because he is our lone all-star, right? And, I mean, he didn't play, at all in the fourth quarter in Game 4. Obi Toppin played pretty much those last, 10 minutes of the game. And it obviously worked. And, something was clearly off with Randall in Game 3. Just wasn't a pretty night. I think he only had, 7 points. He shot, 3 of 10. Defense was lackadaisical. The effort you kind of started seeing the poor body language of the poor, effort again, kind of reminiscent of last season when he was doing all that stuff. Obviously, shake off all that. This is a new game. You're up 3-1. Your team is in the driver's seat. Your team needs you, though, to succeed. Your team needs you to step up and play like the All-NBA player you were playing like during the regular season. Because if you do that, not only do you take care of this series, but you can handle the next series. Watching the Heat and Bucks series, I know the Heat are up 3-1. At this rate, it seems likely that a second-round matchup between the Knicks and Heat is likely. And we saw what Randall did against the Heat back in March, hitting that game-winning shot. Unfortunately, he got hurt against Miami as well a week later after that. But we see what Randall has done against Miami. We know what Randall can do. Looking at that, that could be a big series coming up. You don't want to talk about that too much because it obviously is not confirmed yet. We don't know if that's going to end up being the second round matchup. Right now, you just got to focus on taking care of this first round. And it starts with Randall just stepping it up. Getting that 3-point shot to fall like you've been emphasizing all this time. Getting that to fall is huge. Getting any bucket is huge. And playing good defense. The team all around has played really good defense. So you got to contribute to that. You don't want to let up and then cause a big gaping hole in that defense that has been so strong all series long. You don't want that, right? So yeah, I do think Randall needs to step it up a bit, and I guess I kind of want to pivot here toward the next thing here. I want to talk about Josh Hart because Josh Hart started the last game in place of Quentin Grimes, right? And Quentin Grimes obviously had a shoulder injury, so that's why he didn't play. Grimes could be back tonight. We don't know yet. We know right now he's questionable. But my question to you is, do you think Josh Hart should continue to start? I mean, we saw how well like Brunson and Hart were together on the floor in Game 4 and how well they meshed. Obviously they're Villanova teammates, so they have that chemistry already. But my thing is like, do you think Hart should just continue to start and have just Grimes play on the bench? Or do you think like maybe Grimes should just come back into the lineup and put Hart on the bench and don't really change what was working in the regular season? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I'm always an advocate of, hey, if it's broke, don't fix it. I just care that Hart's in the closing lineup. However the Knicks choose to navigate this doesn't really affect me that much. As long as Hart ends up closing the game, he gets a lot of minutes, and he's playing, that's all they care about. The second unit kind of needs an offensive identity. I feel like I trust Josh Hart to be, because he's a veteran, not saying that he's more talented of a scorer than Grimes is. This is kind of the difference between like skill and just what Josh Hart brings, that that unquantifiable energy he's able to bring that allows him to do things. Like, I feel like anytime he drives towards the basket on a fast break, like for some, like it's like he's shooting 100% from that. You give him that shot, he never misses. He does not miss that layup. It's crazy. I feel like him and Quickly have worked really well together off the bench. That second unit isn't the most offensively competent. Do I think Grimes is a better shooter than Josh Hart? Yes, but Josh Hart is the hot shooter right now, so I kind of need him to be in that second unit. The Cavs bench isn't very good. The Knicks have done a great job of taking advantage of that bench. It's not broken. You don't have to fix it. If the Knicks choose to go with Josh Hart in the starting lineup, that's fine. This is not that you can mess around this game, but if you're going to experiment with this game, that's fine. This is the game you do it. Out of all the games in the postseason you ever would mess with your lineup, this is the one, right? There are questions about, whether there have been questions about whether Josh Hart should start or not. I think all year when RJ was struggling, that was a question. When Grimes was struggling, that was a question. But I think we're at the point where Josh Hart has established himself as a really good player off the bench, kind of like how Quickly has established himself as a very good player off the bench. Realistically, Quickly is the third best player on this team, right? And he could play shooting guard, but they haven't done that all year for a reason. It's about the fit. So, end of the day, I think Josh Hart works best with the second unit. I'm open to letting him start, but I don't think they have to make that change. I don't know what you think with that.
Right. I mean, with me, I think it's kind of a win-win situation with Hart and Grimes if you swap the two. They're both good defenders. They both can shoot the ball. Hart may be the better finisher probably, and you could argue maybe Hart is the better passer and maybe the better defender. I'm not sure about that one. That's a topic for another time. But basically, I think it's a win-win situation. I don't think you really lose out on this because, Grimes has experience on the bench. He's played and he's performed decently off the bench. Obviously, we see Grimes has played well with Brunson and them on the floor. So yeah, of course, that's why you keep starting with him there. But this is the playoffs. It's a different atmosphere. This is Grimes' first playoff appearance. So things are a little different. He's got a tough assignment having to guard guys like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland all series long. That's a tough assignment. It's easier for a vet like Josh Hart to take care of guys like that. And Josh Hart has quite frankly handled Donovan Mitchell fairly well this series. So that's a point of emphasis I like to make on it. But realistically, like I said, it's kind of a win-win. I don't think you really go wrong if you start Quentin Grimes tonight. I don't think you go wrong if you start Josh Hart tonight. I really don't. And if Quentin Grimes can't play again with his shoulder injury, then of course you're going to start Josh Hart again. But right now, we're going to kind of just play it as if, Grimes is going to come back in the lineup tonight because right now, getting upgraded to questionable is a very good sign. So I would like to anticipate that Grimes will return tonight. If he doesn't, then I guess we start Josh Hart again and we just run it back with the same squad that we did in Game 4, which, was fine by me. I mean, it worked. But, yeah, to wrap up that point, kind of a win-win. I don't really see, a massive issue with starting Hart or starting Grimes. As long as, like you said, as long as Hart is getting the majority of the minutes and playing the big minutes and playing the minutes that, guys like Mitchell and Garland are on the floor, as long as that's the case, then you live with that. You take it and you move. You just go with it. So I guess to kind of wrap this up a little bit here, I want to do a final score prediction. I don't think we really did one the last episode. So, my final score prediction, I think the Knicks can win tonight, but I feel like this is the Cavs game to win because the Cavs are going to be playing desperate. They're down 3-1. They're back home. So I think the last thing they would want to do is for a series to end with them losing on their home floor. I feel like the Cavs win this game tonight, honestly. I feel like the Cavs will win a close one, like 108-105 type of thing. But if I want to get optimistic and give a Knicks final score prediction for if they were to win, the Knicks can win this game 112-109. That's what I would think. I think it's going to be a close game down the stretch. I feel like it's going to be a very close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout whatsoever. You're playing in a hostile environment, being the Knicks here, playing in Cleveland, so I think it'll be close. What do you think, Ryan? What do you think like the final score of tonight's game will be?
Yeah, so personally, I think that I kind of agree in the sense that, like, I feel like the Cavs are going to be fighting they're going to be fighting tooth and nail. Every rebound, every ball that's loose, anything that they could possibly get, any sort of edge, they're going to fight for it. It's a matter of if the Knicks can match that. Can the Knicks find a way to beat a team that's going to be hyper motivated, not just normally motivated, not just playoff motivated? Can the Knicks go into Cleveland and say, I don't care how much you want to win this series. I don't care that you were favored to win this series. I don't care that you're favored to win this game. I think they're favored to win by 6 points. I don't care that you have Donovan Mitchell. I don't care that you have Donovan Mitchell. We wanted Donovan Mitchell, and you guys ended up with him. We're going to beat you, right? Whether it happens in game 5 or whether it happens in game 6, or I hope it doesn't come down to a game 7, or it comes down to a game 7, you have 3 shots to get this job done. You absolutely have to get this job done. Final score prediction, I think the Cavs win tonight. I think they win it 103-98. I think it's going to be a close loss. I think it's going to be one of those where you're just like, damn, we could have had that one. But I do expect this team, with their 3 shots, to take advantage of it. Look, this team is changing its identity, right? And part of that is new expectations, right? 2 months ago, we were like, oh, it'd be really cool we were the 5th seed because we could face the Cavs and maybe that gives us a chance to get out of the first round. Fast forward, and on April 26, 2023, the New York Knicks should be expected to win this series. The New York Knicks, it would be a massive disappointment if the Knicks do not win this series. Would it be a successful season for the Knicks? Still, yes. Would it be a failure? Given the expectations now, yes. If you want the reputation of we are a playoff team and you should respect us, don't blow a 3-1 lead. Don't lose in the first round. Go out and do a job, right? They win tonight. The narrative changes. And I don't know if you saw the Ringers odds predictions. The Knicks have decent odds to win the finals. Even I know 538 isn't as high on the Knicks in terms of their finals odds because, understandably so, but I'm pretty sure the loss to the Cavs really, the loss to the Bucks losing to the Heat really changed a lot of this. And it's funny enough because I remember saying in a podcast, like, no one cares about the Bucks facing the Heat. The Heat are going to lose to the Bucks. Well, Giannis got hurt, so now that changes. But look, we have a shot, right? I'm not going to start looking ahead, but if you beat the Cavs and the Heat move on, you have a shot to go to the conference finals, right? It's now or never. So I guess this is kind of the point. I think this is a good point for us to end off today's episode and kind of let the audience kind of kick in with their comments and thoughts in the comment section below. If you guys want to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you guys make sure you do that. Obviously, if you're watching this on the YouTube page, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. We've got you guys with plenty of content. We're going to keep you guys covered with everything that's going on with the Knicks. Hopefully, we don't have to do a Game 6 preview. We can do a second round preview as our next episode, but obviously, that's TBD based on tonight's result. And of course, you guys can check out our Twitter accounts. They're above our heads, and you guys can tweet at us anytime if you ever want to talk Knicks, whatever you guys want to talk about. And of course, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for your support. Let's get to 500 subscribers sometime soon, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.